This is a production of KMmedia.pro. Welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. Our goal is simple: to explore evolving ideas one conversation at a time. So come on over into our world. I know you'll like it, because on today's show... Have fun today. I do have to tell you, we've got a great guest, and we're going to be talking about all kinds of things and about energy work and all the stuff that she does, Reiki and all that stuff, as well as being an actress, as well as having a wonderful retreat that she's going to have at the first of the year. But first, I have to talk to my friend Eric. How are you, Eric?
Hey, good afternoon, Kevin. Happy Monday to you. How you doing?
It is an exceptional Monday, and it is so nice outside. Isn't it cool?
Well, it's a little cool. It's a little rainy, but that's okay. It's fall. We're right on schedule.
Well, I know, but you know why today is such a special day?
Why is that, sir?
It's Monday Night Football, and the Seahawks are on it.
All right.
So it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood when the game starts at 5:30. We'll see how it ends up at 8:30, whether it's still a beautiful day in the neighborhood or not.
Hey, they've got a roof over the field, so it's going to be beautiful no matter what for that.
Yes, indeed. Well, they're playing in New York, so I don't know what the weather's like there.
Well, chances are pretty good. They also have a roof.
Yes, indeed. Well, that's where they won the Super Bowl, was in that stadium. So they've got good luck there. So we're going to hope that works out well. And you're good? Everything's good at the station?
Yep.
That's it? That's all I got?
I mean, what more do you want?
Well, it's like, all the time, just to give people a peek under the blanket, all the time when we do these shows, if I'm not in the studio, then I'll ask Eric, how's my sound? Am I bright enough? And he was actually going to have a real snarky statement he was going to make back to me, but he chose not to, and I appreciate him for that. Am I bright enough, by the way?
You're a bright guy.
Oh, well. I don't know. In any event, it's great to be here. It's Monday. And of course, Positive Talk Radio is heard on Monday at 3, Wednesday at 4, and Friday Friday at noon and Friday at 3. And the 3 o'clock show on Friday is on Kixie, 880 a.m. And so the others are here on KKNW, but go there as well. And you can also go to positivetalkradio.net. And by the way, congratulate me, Eric.
Congratulations, Kevin.
It's fun. It's fun that I can make you congratulate me, and you have no earthly idea why.
What am I congratulating you for, by the way?
600 episodes up on positivetalkradio.net.
All right.
So 600 episodes plus, and we've got another great one today. We're going to find out all about energy, and we've got a beautiful young lady with us. Her name is Caroline. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to have Caroline, when you come on, my dear, I want to make sure that we get your last name correctly. So I'll have you say it rather than me say it.
Absolutely. Hello. My name is Caroline Paradis. It's pronounced just like the word paradise. There's just no E at the end, so it can be confusing.
Is so cool.
Yeah,
that is cool. Now, did you make that up yourself, or did you come along with that? Were you born with that? Or did you marry
neither, actually. I earned it when I got married, and I'm earning it every day.
Hey, I don't even want to go there because you know. So, but you are, and tell the gal who's going to come with you that I hope she's feeling better.
Thank you. She was very disappointed to miss our conversation tonight, and I'd like to congratulate you on 600 episodes. That's amazing, and I think she's going to be even more bummed when she finds out that this was the 600th, and she couldn't join us, but she's resting and doing what she needs to do to feel better. So,
and it's important because in the springtime or late late wintertime, early springtime, you guys have got a event that we're going to be talking about here in a little bit. And it's a retreat that people can go to, and it's a 4-day thing, and it should be a lot of fun for you guys. And but before we go there, I want to talk about you,
All
because
right.
I know that you're one of those rare people that have lived your whole life and everything's been nothing but gravy and roses, and everything's been so happy for you, and you have led a perfect life. Isn't that so?
Oh, of course. Yes. Nothing but rainbows and butterflies, Kevin. With the,
I,
the few little storms mixed in, which of course everyone experiences, and those are the things that help us grow. So it's
well,
been
and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about, is that a lot of us go through those times and then we ignore them and just assume that that's kind of how my life just is.
mm.
And you made a decision, I think it was about 8 years ago, that that wasn't going to be your story. Tell us your story a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So I, about 7, 8 years ago, I was the president of a nonprofit organization here in southeastern Massachusetts. And it, by all accounts, was a wonderful position, a wonderful organization to work with and for. And I had sort of outwardly, if you were to look at my life from the outside, you would say that I had a pretty perfect life, a great marriage, a great job, uh, a lot of meaningful activity in the community, and a lot of wonderful connections with people as I was doing my work. But it there was a piece inside of me that became more and more restless, if you will, as the years went on, particularly in that position, because I think, I had sort of reached the top of the ladder, the top rung of the ladder in terms of moving your way up career wise, through the nonprofit world. And I had achieved and achieved and achieved. And yet I really could not, for the life of me, achieve any balance in my own life. So I felt very uneasy, in my own skin. I was working too much, working too many hours, and the hours that I wasn't working, I couldn't really shut down or rest. And so I found myself getting sick a lot. I found myself experiencing increasing levels of anxiety even when I wasn't working. And ultimately, I was sort of, living life on empty, with just constantly on empty. And so eventually I had to ask myself, how did I get here? Did I really choose these things, or did I sort of fall into this? And can I do this for the rest of my, adult life, or at least for as long as I'm working? And the answer was no, no to all of those things. And so I just decided that I needed to find something that was more aligned with who I was on the inside, and what was in my heart, and the kinds of things that lit me up and made me excited. And so that was the beginning of my journey, and it took a while for me to discover that. But once I did, I never looked back.
I would like you, because here's the thing. Same thing happened to me. I think the same thing happens to everybody at one point. At one point, I mean, I was a mid-level manager. I traveled around the country. I was a national sales manager. I had lots of reports. They had lots of respect, but I didn't feel like my life was valuable, mostly to me, and it was not valuable to to what I was about and who I was. So at one point in time I said, why am I really here, and what's my real purpose in life?
Mm.
And and I value talking to people like you who have been through the exact same experience that I went through, because you were doing well, you're a professional, you're an actress, you're doing all of these things, you're involved in the community and stuff, but it wasn't filling you up, wasn't filling your heart's desire. And there are, I think, many more of us. There are people listening to this show right now who can say, I fit that mold. I'm not following my heart. I'm not living my life to its greatest desire. And so they don't, but they don't make the decision to make a change. What
Mm.
was it about you that decided to really shake things up and
Mm.
become who you are today?
Well, that's a good question. I think it's interesting what you're describing, because I think, a lot of us, we sort of look at the world based on how we were raised or what examples we were given when we were younger in terms of what success is, what success looks like, and how it's defined. And then we move forward with that belief system. And what happens for a lot of us is we then achieve that success outwardly, and then we expect to be happy. And when we're not happy, all of a sudden it's like, but I've done all the things that I thought I needed to do to feel good and happy and successful. And when there is that hole inside, right, because you're missing something, I think that's what a lot of people feel. And all I can say in terms of why, I decided to shift and move into a different path is because I had already sort of been doing a lot of self reflecting for a lot of years. So I had become aware of the inner voice that would whisper certain things to me, right? We all have that inner voice that kind of says yes to things or no to things, or, oh, I knew that wasn't a good idea. Something was telling me it wasn't a good idea, but we don't listen to it, right?
Right.
And so I think I had enough practice listening to that voice in order to really dive into something new. And it's not like I woke up one morning and said, I'm going to be an energy healer, I'm going to get certified in Reiki. I had no idea where I was going to go. I just knew that I couldn't keep doing what I was doing and that something had to change. And then I just started putting myself out there. I actually went to a retreat in Western Massachusetts that was incredibly transformational for me. And I started meditating. And that's how I started to follow the breadcrumbs and figure out how to take that step ultimately to change careers. And I will say too, I had a support system. It was a small group of people, but they were undeniably supportive of what was going to make me happy. And that made a huge difference for me. I know it did.
That your story is so similar to mine, it is frightening.
Wow, it's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, because when I'm just a titch older than you,
No.
but yeah, oh yeah,
I
and
don't believe it.
you're a beautiful young woman, and you must be what, 25, and I'm sitting here. Never mind. But I was brought up that what a man did is he went to school, he got a career, then he got a wife, and then he had a couple of kids, and then he bought the house, then he got the dog, then he got the cat, and then that's the definition of happy. Then you're going to be just happy. That wasn't the case. I wanted to be an actor, and I was in college to be an actor, but I had to give that up because um everybody kept telling me, and by the way, this is good for everybody to know, everybody kept telling me, no, you can't be an actor, nobody makes any money doing that, you can't be that. And then I found this woman who became my wife for 24 years. And so consequently, everything kind of fell into that. But then I woke up one day and it was like, I'm not happy doing this stuff. Why am I really here? How can I contribute? And so I used all the experiences I'd gained over time to end up, and it's by pure happenstance that I ended up in radio. Because I had a friend that said, "Hey, we need to tell everybody what we're learning," and because we were learning about meditation and energy work and all the things that you've been doing, and he said, "We need to do a TV show to tell everybody about this." Figured out that we couldn't do a TV show, but we could do radio. And then I fell in love with the medium, and I wanted to express it to the best of my ability. And that was in 2002, 2003, when that's how Positive Talk Radio started. And it was the same, but it's the same thing as you. You were then searching for a way and a small group of people who supported you, which is what I had as well. So I don't believe that that is circumstantial, or I don't believe that that's something that you just fell into. I think it was your life's plan, and it was part of what you were destined to do. Does that ring a bell to you?
Oh, that's so beautiful. I'm so happy to hear your story. Yes, I absolutely agree. So much of our reality, I think, is dictated by what we allow ourselves to see and be open to. And for a lot of us, I think, we might find ourselves in these situations where we know we're not happy. We know we feel stuck or limited or not aligned. And we just decide that, well, I have to pay my bills. I've been in this career for a long time. And so, I don't want to lose my retirement. And we sort of like create all these roadblocks to something that might be trying to rush in for us, right? Some opportunities that might be out there that we maybe weren't open to. There's a great book. I don't know if you've ever read it. It's called Outrageous Openness by a woman named Tasha Silver. I recommend it to a lot of my clients who are in this kind of space. And I actually read it when I was in this in-between space as well. And it was really helpful to me because basically what she says is when you are, trying to bring about change for yourself, a lot of times what happens is the brain, because of how the brain operates, it creates all of these parameters and all these expectations that this thing that you're trying to call in is going to look like, how it's going to come to you, in what form is it going to come, and we create all of these parameters. But what happens is we end up putting literal blinders on, because we expect the thing to come to us in a certain way at a certain time. And if we can just sort of, so her book is called Outrageous Openness. And the notion is if we could just open ourselves up, say, okay, tell the universe or God or whoever it is, right, that is your higher power or however it fits into your belief system, you say, this is what I want. This is what I want to draw into my life. This is what I want to call in for myself. And then you remain open to it looking like something you never could have imagined, because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be bigger and better than you could have imagined for yourself, because we tend to play small. So that was a huge piece for me, was that book and that notion of being open to looking like something I didn't expect.
And for me, it also was a book. It was called Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton.
Oh, I love that book. Love that book. Yes.
And when we come back, I need to take a break, but when we come back, I'd like to tell that story, if I can, of how I fell into that book and how it ultimately changed everything. And up to and including the fact that if you'd have told me in 2003 that in 2023 it would be a Monday afternoon, the Seahawks would be doing Monday Night Football, and I would be on the radio in Seattle, I would have said, "You're high and you're crazy."
Yeah.
And all those things are happening today. We're talking with Caroline Paradis, and we're going to be right back. And then we're also going to talk about energy and her work in that, as well as the retreat that is coming up. So stay with us. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio on KKNW.
Do you need to boost your sales? Join our partnership program. Each quarter, we promote 10 partner businesses. What will you get? The company will produce one 30-second video for your business. Your website links on positivetalkradio.net and kmmedia.pro. One dedicated podcast or radio show per month. One video Instagram reel. One YouTube short. One 60-second clip for social media taken from your interview, and at least one commercial airplay per show. All podcast and video commercials are within the fabric of the show and will remain in the show forever. Visit kmmedia.pro to book a consultation today.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal.
For being our appreciated listener, you can use promo code PTR20 at checkout to receive 20% off your order.
anaturaldesign.com at your fingertips today.
We believe in the power of telling your stories. We want to help yours be seen and heard. At the Pacific Northwest Collaborative Magazine, our purpose is to connect you to your community. Let's begin by celebrating the accomplishments of local artists featured in this brand new digital magazine. Here, you can learn about opportunities to creatively come together and support our local community and neighbors through the gift of art and service. If your business or organization would like to take part in this magazine, message us on Instagram at pnw.collab. You can download our free digital magazine at KM Media Pro today.
Thank you to our dedicated fans. We are updating our live on-air schedule to make it super easy for you to hang out with us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and live on Fridays with Kixie 8:80 a.m. Seattle Live. You can find our library to binge all the podcast platforms. We can't wait to see you at 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, starting September 4th, Labor Day 2023.
And welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. We've got a great guest for you today. I want you to stay for the entire time. Of course, you're going to do whatever you want because that's the way it works. But I would love for you to stay and listen to Caroline Paradis and me talk. And we're having a great conversation. And I just have to tell you just real quick that when I was in this mode of trying to figure out what I was trying to do and who I was and where I was going to go, I had a friend that one of my close friends, that circle that we were talking about, and he said, why don't you go to a metaphysical bookstore? I said, well, okay, and why? And he said, well, I want you to buy the first book that speaks to you. And I said, speaks to me? I'm not exactly sure I know what you mean, but I went. I went to the bookstore, and then right as I walked in, and it was a brand new book that was just out, Journey of Souls by Dr. Michael Newton. And I actually had the honor of being able to interview him before he passed away. And it was Journey of Souls, and it was the exact book. I know this is going to sound surprising, but it was the exact book that I needed at that particular moment in time. So I picked it up, I bought it, read it cover to cover, and it quite literally changed my life. And I know you did the same thing. So our parallels are very close, and I think that it is much more a larger phenomenon than just you and me, you in Maine or in Massachusetts, and me in Seattle, having the same experiences. What do you think?
Oh, I love that story. And I think what a brilliant piece of advice you got from your friend. That bookstore, just go and choose. Because I think the part of you that was going to recognize which book you should choose is the same part of you where the desire to do something with meaning comes from. So it was just connecting in with that same piece of you, that same part of you. It's like anytime you want to do heart-centered work or have meaning or purpose in your life, it's your intuition that guides you into that, right? So that was such a wise thing that your friend told you. And I'm so glad that it did what it did for you. That's an incredible book. And it was also quite a game changer for me as well.
Yeah, he's from Boston. So And he's the interesting thing about that is he's long since left my life, and that happens as well.
Yes.
But now let's talk about you and the work that you're doing, because you fell into learning about Reiki, about energy work and full body work and all of that, that you explain to the audience, and let's talk about it at a real simple level that people can understand, because a lot of people are going, what the hell do you mean energy, what's all about? So explain, please.
Sure. So Reiki is one type of energy work or energy healing modality. There are many now that are available to people. But the notion behind all of them is really just to say that we are all energetic beings, meaning we are made up of energy, right? Quite literally. We are constantly vibrating, and we have little teeny tiny particles that make up our bodies and that make up an energy field around our bodies. And so we're these really alive, dynamic beings that are governed in many ways by our own energy. And so this energy body that we have that makes us who we are, we use it to do everything that we do, right? To move through the world, to activate our organs, to heal ourselves, all right, physically and otherwise, to process emotions, to digest our food. I mean, you name it. We need this energy to do all of these things, to basically be a human and live a life. And on the flip side, that energy body, that energetic body that we have, also is very much affected by the things that happen to us, the experiences that we have in our lives, the people that we come in contact with, even our own thoughts and beliefs will impact our energetic body because they themselves are energy. And so it's not that much of a leap, if you think of it that way, to think that you might at some point in your life need to reestablish a sense of balance and flow within your energetic body, because it's always changing and it's always being affected positively or negatively by all of these things. And so at its simplest explanation, that's what Reiki is, and that's what energy work is. It's just bringing you back into a natural state of balance where, you know, your body can be supported in doing what it does, where you can process emotions, feel them and release them as needed, where your mind can be clear and you can be dialed into your intuition. So that's how I would explain it to somebody who's never heard of it before.
And how did you fall into it?
That's a great question. Well, a little bit of a part two to my story is that when I was in this space of exploring anything and everything I could to figure out how I was going to move from being the president of a nonprofit to some other career, I did begin a meditation practice. And I would get up every morning and I would listen to this lovely, light little morning meditation, 17 minutes long, no big deal. And what was so fascinating is the first 3 weeks that I did that, I cried through every single listen that I had, every session that I had with the same meditation, just crying. And I had no idea why, but emotion would come up. In hindsight, I now know that I had a lot of stored and stuck emotion in the cells of my body that needed to be released. So I needed to make some space for something new to come in. And so my body just naturally did that. Once I got to a point where I could listen to the meditation all the way through without crying, it didn't take long. It was probably less than a week that I was listening to it and having a lovely time in the morning and just kind of, dialed in. And I heard in my mind, in my voice, but it did not come from me. I knew that it was not my thought. I heard 3 times, Reiki, 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 just like that. And it popped in. It was like somebody had gently placed the thought in my head. And at that point, I kind of knew what Reiki was. I had had a couple of sessions many years before, but never really kept up with it. But I was in a position to be open, right? That sense of openness. And so I said, well, maybe I should go learn Reiki, see where that takes me. So I went to get certified in Reiki, and I was sitting across the room from my teacher. It was just the two of us. And she starts explaining what Reiki is. And all of a sudden I start crying again. And she's looking at me. She's never met me before. She's like, "Why are you crying?" And I said, "I just feel like I'm home." And it was this overwhelming feeling. As soon as I basically walked into that space and opened that door, it was a knowing deep, deep within myself that I was home, and I had found something that was going to be part of my path. And I'll tell you, I never looked back, and that feeling has never left me. And so, since then I got certified all the way up to Reiki master level. And I left my job about 9 months later and opened my own business. And since then I've learned a bunch of different modalities to complement the Reiki, like sound healing and full spectrum energy healing, meditation. I'm able to facilitate meditation for people, and all of those things really complement one another. And it has been honestly the best decision of my life and the greatest gift of my life, because I truly feel like my authentic self finally. And it took me a long time to get there.
And that's why it's important that you're on the show today, is because that experience that you had can be had by everyone if you choose to allow for it. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. I think that's such a great message to extract from the story. Because and I've seen it happen for other people after that as a result. But, part of it is you just have to, maybe shift your focus away from why can't you to why you can, and start to look for the signs that you're going to receive. And, just as your friend invited you to be on a radio show and you had no idea what that was going to mean for you, it's just starting to tune in and to hear that little voice and say yes to the things that truly feel good and say no to the things that don't, which also can be tricky.
You know how I knew that this was what I needed to be doing was that I would be doing 2 hours a day, and it was like from 11 to 1 or 12 to 2 were the 2 times that I had. And at the end of that 2-hour period, you would think, because I have to be on and I have to be there and I have to be present and all that, I would be tired. I was more energetic after those 2 hours than at any other time in my day, because that was where I was supposed to be. And just like in your Reiki, and your energy healing and stuff, and the sound healing, which is, tell us what sound healing is, because a lot of people are not aware really of what that is.
Sure. So sound healing really is another type of energy work or energy healing. It's just through the use of vibration and sound. So when a sound healer is playing a sound instrument with a client, or when you are attending a sound bath, sometimes people will hold sound baths. And essentially what's happening is, as the instrument is being played, it is resonating at a certain frequency that is then interacting with your frequency as the recipient. And it is bringing about harmony and balance within your body as they, it's called morphic resonance. So as they resonate together and start to match, you'll find that your body is in training to the frequency or vibration of the instrument. And so when that happens, we're also able to, again, release a lot of the stuff that we're holding in our bodies. People don't realize how much we store inside the cells of our bodies. I know I didn't know that at all until I got into this work. But the cells of our bodies hold everything, all of our experiences. And so over time, what happens is the cells start to vibrate at a lower level, and they start to get kind of like heavy and denser and weighed down. And so a lot of times what happens in energy work is somebody just lets go of something, and they feel lighter afterwards, and less weighed down and less encumbered. And so that's a big part of it too. But a lot of people really love sound baths. They call it a sound bath because when you are in a sound bath, usually multiple instruments are being played and you're being bathed in sound. And that's why they call it a sound bath.
And you can even do it with your clothes on still.
Oh, yes. I think that's preferred by most practitioners.
I would think so. By the way, if you are in our audience today and you're in the Pacific Northwest, we have lots of trees, lots of big trees. I want you to do this. If you don't believe in the concept of vibration and energy, I want you to walk up to a tree that's been on this planet for 60 or 70 years, and they're a great big tree, and just gently put your hands on it, and you'll feel the vibration of the tree itself. Have you ever done that?
I have. Oh gosh, yes. As a matter of fact, every time Shell and I go for a nature walk, we do that. We're constantly touching the trees. I totally agree with that. You know, energy is subtle, but anybody can learn how to feel their own energy or someone else's energy. You know, the thing about Reiki is that, and sound healing too, is that it's not reserved for the gifted few. It truly is accessible and available to anyone who wants to be open to learning it. It's almost like learning another language. A great exercise people can try at home if they want to see what their own energy feels like is there's a Korean technique called Jigam. It's spelled Jigam, Jigam. And basically what you do is you take your hands, you put them out in front of you, and you start tapping your fingertips. And you just gently tap your fingertips for about 20, 30 seconds. And then after that, you clap them, I believe. And you just gently clap them, not loud, not a lot, just gently clapping them together. And then you take your wrists and you kind of do jazz hands. So you're flipping your hands back and forth, turning your wrists in and out. And then in each of those is only 20 or 30 seconds. And then when you're done, you take your hands and you place them close to each other, but not touching, as if you're going into prayer position, but not touching your hands. And you see what you feel in between your hands. And some people feel heat. Some people will feel like a tingling sensation. Some people will feel like there's like the hands are repelling one another, almost like a battery, you know, two positives of a battery. And so different people will feel different things, but I do this in my Reiki classes, and I don't think I've ever had somebody who didn't feel anything. And it's really cool if you've never felt your own energy to do that exercise.
That's a great piece of information that people can go home, and you can do it quietly in amongst yourselves, and you don't have to do it. Another thing that's a great party trick that we used to do was that you would have somebody that would stand sideways to you, and then you would put your hand, you had them close their eyes, and then you would put your one hand on their next to their back and the other hand next to their front, and you start slowly moving your hands back and forth. Don't touch them, just have them be a couple of inches away, and so you know exactly where I'm going with this. And as what'll happen is these people will start rocking back and forth like you're touching them, but you're not. And it's because of the energy that is surrounding them is attracted by your energy, and you're moving it back and forth. Have you ever done that?
I haven't, but it sounds very cool, and I'd love to try it.
And it works every time, as long as people keep their eyes closed. But a lot of people are like, I need to look and see what's going on here.
As long as you don't cheat.
Yes. Now you also use sound bowls, correct?
Yes. Sound bowls are a very common instrument that sound healers will use. They come in different sizes. They are often tuned to a particular chakra, energy chakra, or which is also related to a particular note or frequency. So for instance, you might have a heart chakra bowl or a root chakra bowl and so forth. And they're often made out of either metal or brass oftentimes, or crystal. And those produce very different sounds, but they're both wonderful.
which is again just another modality of getting energy through you and around you and stuff. When we come back, because we need to take a break again, sadly, because I'm having such a good time talking to you.
Me too.
But when we come back, I want to talk about getting stuck in your energy and how to release that so that you can actually live the life and become more aware of everything around you. And because a lot of us get stuck. And so we're going to unstick your energy when we come back, maybe from this break. So please stay with us. You're listening to Positive Talk Radio on KKNW. We'll be right back.
Thank you to our dedicated fans. We are updating our live on-air schedule to make it super easy for you to hang out with us 5 days a week, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We broadcast on YouTube, Facebook, and live on Fridays with Kixie 8:80 a.m. Seattle Live. You can find our library to binge all the podcast platforms. We can't wait to see you at 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, starting September 4th, Labor Day 2023.
Hello, everybody. If I could have your attention, please, I have an important announcement to make just for you. As you may know, PTR is heard and seen on radio, KKNW, and now Kixie, several websites, podcasts, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and most social media. At PTR, we believe in working together to make the world a better place, and because you're listening, we know that you're dedicated to the same. So we'd like to support your efforts by offering an outstanding multimedia package for you at a deeply discounted rate. As our partner, you'll receive commercial creation, both video and audio, at least 10 commercial plays per week, a monthly show to highlight your business and passion, exclusive website positioning with links, video shorts for social media, commercial plays on all shows, podcasts, KKNW, and Kixie. Your commercial is embedded into each episode and as a podcast is sent to over 50 different platforms. All shows are performed live and sent to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and stay there forever. Your podcast episodes are provided to you to use as you see fit. This one-time offer is only $250 a week, based on a 13-week commitment, and as our partner, we are vested in your success, and will do everything in our power to make it happen. However, there are limited spots available, so don't hesitate. Please email me at kevin@kmmedia.pro, and let's get the ball rolling.
When you want to say more than words communicate, you can with flowers. Your custom boutique floral studio in Bothell, Washington is anaturaldesign.com, connecting you to nature through the language of flowers. Where your people are is where our flowers are beautiful. Your success is our goal. anaturaldesign.com at your fingertips today.
Hey there, I would personally like to thank you for making Positive Talk Radio part of your day. Whether you like podcasts or the radio show, we're glad to have you along. I'd love to hear from you with thoughts about the show and ways that we can make it even better. You are the reason we do these shows, because the more people we can touch, the better we can make the planet and our time here just magnificent. Please contact me, Kevin, at kmmedia.pro with any thoughts, comments, or suggestions, and thank you for being in my dream. And welcome back to Positive Talk Radio. My name is Kevin McDonald, and you knew that. You don't need to know that any more than that. And I want to tell Caroline Paradis, thank you for being here. You're a wonderful guest, and you weren't sure that you'd have a good time when you came here, did you?
Who told you that? Never. No, I actually, I'm so thrilled to be here. This time has just flown by. And, you know, I was a little sad that Shell couldn't make it, but it really has been just a really fascinating, great conversation. It's flowed wonderfully.
Well, and I want to thank you for doing this and for being here. You are very gifted at what you do, and we're going to talk about how to get unstuck energy in just a second. But one of the things that you do, and I like to bring this up because you're an actress and you're involved in the theater. And one of the things that I want everybody, and I mean this sincerely, every child that is out there and you're a parent, take your child, put them in some sort of a drama class, put them into um, improvisational acting class, because it gives them a lot more confidence. It gives them the ability to think on their feet and to understand how it all works. And it really, you're doing yourself a favor and you're doing your kids a favor if you put them in acting class. Do you agree with that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There is research actually around this idea that kids who are exposed to acting and theater, they have a lot of benefits that they receive. I mean, not in just only boosting their confidence, but also cognitively in terms of an emotional intelligence and being able to work as a team and interact with others. And I think also even in math and language as well. So, I mean, it actually benefits their growing brains to to do that kind of play and learn about theater. So I'm a huge proponent of that, and I could not agree more.
Matter of fact, they've been on the show before. The group Sisters J. They're two beautiful young ladies, and they're a singing duo. And the younger one could not talk when she was a youngster. She was 2 years old and could not talk. Her mom had to sing her the alphabet to get her to learn the alphabet. She took drama. She's now a singer. She's now a cartoonist. She is an author. She's doing all of these things that when she was 2 and she couldn't talk, nobody thought that she was capable of. Oh, poor child. And now look at her. She's flying high. And that's I want everybody to feel that and to feel that that's available to your kids. So anyway, enough of that. But if somebody's energy is stuck, and for number one, how do you know your energy might be stuck? And two, how do you work through it, and then how do you deal with it?
Good questions. So it can be difficult for people that have never necessarily learned about energy or explored their own energy to know if their energy is stuck. I will say everyone can benefit from energy work because I do believe everybody from time to time has blocks or imbalances within their energetic body because life can be challenging. It can be tough. A lot of times when people come to me, they're sort of at their wits' end. It's like they're at the end of their rope. They've either got some sort of pain or maybe an illness of some sort that Western medicine hasn't been able to diagnose or find the reason that they have it. Or sometimes they just have this sense of like, ugh, they just feel ugh, and they can't really
Is
they
that a
can't put
medical
words
term?
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't exactly know what it is, but they know they just don't feel right. And so, or sometimes people, a lot of us do know when we feel stuck because we can't get out of our own way. It's like, I know I'm capable of this. I know this something, XYZ thing is what I want. And I don't know why I can't get out of my own way. And so a lot of times that's due to, some sort of blocks or imbalances in the energetic body that are keeping them held back, if you will. So, I mean, everyone would benefit from a Reiki session. If you think it might be energetic in nature, what it is that you're dealing with, or if you don't know, no matter what, if you receive some kind of energy work, you are going to benefit from it. Because again, everybody benefits from it in terms of we can always do a little more releasing or get a little bit more in alignment, or maybe it actually helps us become aware of what our own energy feels like so that when it does go awry, we can recognize that. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and didn't realize they were an empath, which is essentially somebody who can tune into other people's energy or can feel other people's emotions as if they're their own. And so they come and they say, I'm a mess. I've got anxiety. I've got all these thoughts and feelings, and I'm overwhelmed. And it turns out half of it wasn't even theirs, but they didn't realize. So, energy work, yes, it will help bring you into balance. But the other thing it does is it educates you on what is your own energy. What is my energy when I feel good? And what is it when I'm bumping up against something? Again, I say it's like learning a language. It's really about tuning inward and learning for yourself, where your alignment is. And then when you're out of alignment, and it starts to get a lot easier to course correct, if that makes any sense.
It does indeed, because when you are feeling good, your energy is flowing. A lot of
Correct.
times when you're not feeling good, that means that for whatever reason, and it could be of your own making or somebody else has entered your area or has affected you in a negative way, you feel badly. And so always look to feel better and to feel good. And a lot of that has to do with meditation, energy work, seeing someone like you. I was reading your reviews, and I'm told that your schedule is kind of hard to get into these days. So
It is these days. I know it's you know what? It's a fabulous problem to have if you're an entrepreneur, right? To have a full schedule. But as of now, yeah, and that's why I'm really excited about teaching Reiki to other people, because I think we need more energy healers in the world. I think more and more people are waking up to this notion that we are more than just our physical body and our thoughts, that there's a whole other component to wellness. We are beings that aren't just made of one thing. We have energy flowing through us all the time. We have a spiritual life that, whether we believe in something or not, we still have that component to us. And so making sure physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, we are flowing, as you said, is super important. And I think what COVID did was really, it forced a lot of people to remove the distractions, because we were so, isolated. And what I found is my business probably tripled after COVID. I was a relatively new practitioner, before that. And after that, it was just like a lot of people seeking something more. So a lot of us we know inside that there's more. And I think Western medicine is incredible, but I also think that this notion of energy work and spirituality is a very important piece to health as well.
I couldn't agree more. And you and your partner, Cheryl, are having a retreat coming and you're going to be back on the show well before then again, because you are delightful. I have to tell you,
Well,
you're,
thank you. Thank you so much.
you're delightful. You know what you're talking about, and you're real busy. But tell us real quickly about the retreat.
Yes, I am so, so excited about this retreat. So, Shell and I have been best friends for almost 25 years. We have walked each other through our own, healing journeys and the inner work that we've each done ourselves. And we both found ourselves, called to this work of energy healing and sound healing. And so, her focus, she's also a Reiki master, and her focus is slightly different than mine. But we both have this background and this very strong belief that, the gold is when you go inward. And we had talked about doing some kind of a workshop or retreat for a long time. And several months ago now, I guess, Shell started to really feel the nudge, and she's like, I think it's time. And she said, I think we should do it in Charleston. And that is where we met and became best friends, in Charleston, when we were in college at the College of Charleston. And so it feels very full circle to have our very first retreat together there in Charleston. So the retreat itself is called Embracing Embodiment. It's a women's wellness retreat. It's going to focus on embodiment in all its many forms. And there are lots of ways to define embodiment. I think as many people that talk about embodiment is as many definitions as you're going to get. But for us, it's really focused around the alignment of mind, body, and spirit. And so, that's what we're looking at with the retreat. So our content is going to, kind of focus on a lot of different facets of embodiment, everything from body image to mindfulness, to nutrition and mindful eating. We have some yoga that we're going to do, but then we're also going to go deeper because this is where she and I tend to live, right? So we're going to get into the energetics of the body and how emotions can get stored inside the cells of the body and what that means for our patterns and the way that we see things. And then we'll go even deeper, and we're going to get into some inner child healing and some womb healing. So it's going to get progressively deeper as we go, but we are extremely, extremely excited about it because we feel that in 3.5 days, this kind of content can have the ability to initiate some big transformations in people. And it could be a catalyst for, hopefully people really stepping into who they truly are and their authentic selves, because as you and I know, that is what life is all about.
Exactly. By the way, we've been talking with Caroline Paradis. Go to claritysouthcoast.com. Sadly, I've run out of time. Be kind to everybody, and because each other's all we've got. I can't even say that today. Thanks. See you Wednesday.